My English is not very good. Honestly saying, it is too far from ideal. But nevertheless, I'm doing it first of all for myself, for my own development. So from this point of view, talking to you in English is more attractive for me. Because I will learn not only metaphysics, not only information about controlling energy and life, but also the language. Secondly, I think it's a little bigger challenge for my brain, therefore it is even more fun. We are going to speak with you about different things. What about? I choose topics not by some defined algorithm, but order them from the online market. Some people, some emails, some talks, some ideas occur on the way, and I understand what topic should be the next. As you may have understood, I'm not sure what exactly will be our topics about, but I think we both will enjoy the journey. And we both will learn something useful, new and interesting. Maybe. I graduated from the university several years ago. Actually, I'm not proud of having higher education, because in case I had the courage to spend the same time, 4 years, for creating some informational space, some knowledge, for teaching people something, I would gain and I would give much more than I did up to now. But I don't regret also, because it could be much worse. And I learned unique things there for sure. When I was learning English during my university time, I got a brilliant idea in my mind, which has changed the direction of my life. The idea which opened me a door to a significantly different world. And it was as simple as snow. What was the idea about? I was looking for the way to use features of the human mind in learning a language. I really wanted to hack the system, because I really had to make myself to learn, to read, to write and so on, and I didn't like that way of the education. But I was persistently looking for the hacking way. Many of us heard about that in news, read articles or books about it, that our subconscious mind can make great things, because it works even when we rest, even when we sleep. But even more people don't know how to use this feature of mind for their own sake. So the most difficult task for me was how to make my subconscious to help me to learn. I understand that the answer is to make my mind to believe that I know English. After trying different ways of convincing my subconscious mind by different and not effective methods, I got that brilliant idea. It came suddenly, as all brilliant ideas come. What was that? English teacher is a person who knows English, right? And we don't argue with that statement. For our mind it is normal. Otherwise, he or she wouldn't be an English teacher. It is so simple that we don't care about it. But what if we use this rule to hack the system? What if we use it in vice versa? Would it work in back order? For example, if I will play a role of English teacher, not knowing English well, will I start speaking English fluently? That idea lighted me up. I started thinking about it every day, but I didn't know how to check it. I was a student with weak English, though it's not great even now, and who would want to see me as his or her teacher then? So it was a barrier for that time. But after some time of searching, the answer came to me. Yes, my English was not great, but there are people who speak even weaker language, right? So if I teach them for free, then it is a value for them and a chance to conduct this experiment for me. Experiment with playing a role of English teacher, I mean. So I can see, would I start speaking fluently in English, or this rule doesn't work both ways? I gathered students from my university who wanted to learn but didn't have a chance to hire expensive teachers, and we started this experiment. I admitted from the beginning that my level is not high and I am also here to learn, so no one was surprised when I couldn't answer some questions, and it was normal for everyone that we moved together toward one goal. And maybe it even made our teamwork more pleasant. After some time of teaching, the results started to appear both for my students and me. I started to better understand grammar. I started to speak more freely, and I could see that my brain started to learn English day and night. More likely, you will not believe me, but as soon as the responsibility became higher, my brain started to absorb English from every possible source. From posters, ads, from every news and article I read. Brain started to work absolutely in a different way. Effectiveness of my learning multiplied twice or maybe even higher. And after a couple of months, I even started to teach English for money. Of course, I still have gaps in grammar and skills, but I already knew a system which allows students to get the result. And that was my goal. And that was achieved. So the experiment was successful. And there were no limits to my happiness. Because if it works, then it works in every sphere, but not only language, agree? So this discovery changed the direction of my life. After this, I learned many things I wanted, just by playing a role of the person who should master the skill. So the hacking way of life was open to me. Summarizing, I can surely state that, first, subconscious can give extremely high results if you know how to join it into a process, because it works even when you don't expect it, even when you sleep. Second, one of the closest ways to join your subconscious mind to a process is making it believe you are a person who automatically has to know some information or has to have some skill or ability. Third, the closest way to make submind believe is placing yourself in a situation where responsibility for your knowledge is high. Telling in a different way, you must dive into a role of the person who has to master some skill. So it really works. It really works. And from my point of view, as I told before, the best way to acquire some knowledge is to dive into a role of the person who, by circumstances of a profession, has to master some kind of a skill. So it really works. Now, I'm really interested in such spheres as energetics and how to raise it. How the energetics influence on our health, on our intellectual qualities, and how it can help us to stay young and healthy, happy and successful. I want to know how to cure illnesses and what kind of alternate ways we have in curing serious issues, for example, cancer. I really want to learn many other interesting things like destiny of a person, his mission, and so on. I'm here definitely not to boast. I'm just here to learn and teach something I already know. And basing on the results of the experiment I described you above, the best way for me to grow in this direction and to acquire some new skills and knowledge is to teach everything I already know about it all. So now I, with your significant help, start the way of a person who, by the circumstances of a profession, has to know very well about energetics, who has to be a person who knows how to cure illnesses and who has to know how to solve problems. I start my way of sharing this information because I want to dive into this role. Please join if you want. Your company will really help me in reaching this goal. And if you want to take a part in this new experiment, please also join. The more of you I'll have in my audience, the more responsibility will my brain feel and the faster I will acquire these skills. Therefore, the faster I will be able to share with you something new. Instead of your help, I will try you to give effective info about how to control your energetics, how to use it to solve problems, or to not to meet them at all. Of course, I am only a human after all, and my knowledge is too far from ideal also, and I am not insured from mistakes. But I'll try to give some real value, as much as I'll manage to. For your attention, big thanks.